Hello and welcome. India has begun the mammoth exercise of administering COVID-19 vaccines to its 30 crore population. First, India is administering Covishield and Covaxin, these COVID-19 vaccines to 1 crore health workers, both from the public and private health facilities. Then we have around 2 crore state and central police personnel, the armed forces, the home guard, civil defenses, disaster management volunteers, municipal workers, prison staff, revenue workers, all of them involved in the containment and the surveillance over the past few months. Then we have 27 crore Indians belonging to prioritized age groups, those who are over 50 years, those who are below 50 years with comorbidities. They're all being targeted and prioritized. And India's vaccination numbers, after a sluggish start, have gradually started picking up as India has completed the first week of its vaccination drive, its nationwide vaccination drive, from vaccinating 1.9 lakh, only 1.9 lakh healthcare workers on day one, to vaccinating nearly 3.75 lakh healthcare workers on day 7. So what do you need to know about how and when and if to take a coronavirus vaccine? What do you need to do to protect yourself and your family? Joining us on the show tonight to answer all of your questions is Dr. Randeep Guleria, Director of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Dr. Guleria, thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Dr. Guleria, India launched this ambitious inoculation drive on the 16th of January, with the government prioritizing 3 crore health and frontline workers for the initial phase. But authorities were grappling with hesitancy among these intended beneficiaries. Many of them come from the medical profession, have expressed concerns over the vaccine safety and the efficacy. Why do you think the vaccine, that is the single most awaited product of 2021, has not seen more enthusiastic use?
So I think it's related to multiple factors. We must understand that the only effective measure that we have currently to combat COVID-19 is the vaccine. But the vaccine, when it was rolled out, there were a lot of controversies which were unnecessary but got created, and that has led to a lot of vaccine hesitancy. As has been said, that we are not fighting one pandemic, but two pandemics, the so-called syndemic. One is COVID-19 pandemic, and the other is the pandemic of infodemic. And that infodemic pandemic, which creates a lot of news on social media and other media outlets, really creates a lot of hesitancy and doubt among the minds of people. And that really leads to this sort of attitude that let someone else get the vaccine first and let me just observe and see, and then only will I come forward to get the vaccine, the so-called vaccine hesitancy. And that is why in the first few days there was this hesitancy. People wanted to be reassured that those who got the vaccine are safe, because there were so many stories coming out through the infodemic about people not, high mortality rates and very severe side effects and things like that. But if you look at what has happened over the last 1 week, there has been a lot of reassurance. The side effects are very, very low, less than 0.01%, about 0.018%. And there has been no mortality which is directly linked to the vaccine. And now we have a huge number of people who have come forward. We have now, every day the number is increasing. And therefore, I think that initial hesitancy will give way to now a larger and larger number of people coming up. And we may have to open more and more vaccination centers to really accommodate more and more people.
And that's why Prime Minister Modi himself this week interacted with vaccine recipients in his Lok Sabha constituency, Varanasi, seeking to, as you are here, allay fears and any hesitancy anyone has towards the vaccine's efficacy and safety. Now, you yourself have taken the vaccine, right? We've all seen those visuals. There are two COVID-19 vaccines being used. You have Covaxin, developed by Bharat Biotech, and Covishield, developed by Oxford AstraZeneca, manufactured by the Serum Institute of India. Which vaccine, you did so publicly, you took this vaccine to lead by example, to send out a message about the importance of doing so. You know which one you took, right? And how do you feel after this? Any side effects?
So I was the one who took Covaxin, and I have no side effects. It's been now 8 days, and I'm perfectly all right. I've been doing my work as I was in the past, as busy as usual, and I've not really had any problems with the vaccine. And therefore, I would really go one step ahead and really reassure everyone that no matter whether you take Covaxin or Covishield, it's very safe. Trust your scientists, trust the work that they've done over the last 1 year. They've really had sleepless nights, but they've now delivered. And let us really move forward, because if we need to really come out from this pandemic, and when I'm saying come out, it's not only in terms of saving lives or decreasing the number of cases, it's also of coming back to some sort of what we want, going to cinema halls, being able to go out on a holiday, or to travel like we were doing in the past, or to do simple things like going in to see a cricket match. All of this will be possible only once we are able to get everyone vaccinated, have good amount of immunity, and thereby break the chain of transmission.
Correct. So, doctor, you said you picked Covaxin, or you were given Covaxin? How does it work if an Aam Aadmi goes, when it's opened up to the public, do we get to pick which vaccine we get?
No, I don't think it would work like that. It will create a lot of confusion. So what is done is vaccines are given to state governments. It's decentralized. State governments will then decide, depending on the number of doses that they have, the number of centers that they have, that they will then distribute it to different vaccination sites. And whatever is available there, people who are selected for that site would come forward and get the vaccine. In my mind, that is a better way, because otherwise it will create a lot of confusion. I know that there are people who are, one group may want Covaxin, the other may want Covishield, but that may not be available. We must understand that we have limited doses. Even now as we speak, it would be very challenging for us to meet the first phase, that is have 60 crore doses. And therefore we must really take whatever we get so that we can really develop that degree of immunity that we need. And I've been saying this, that this is a window of opportunity that we have. We have a very good situation in India right now in terms of the number of cases, in terms of our case fatality rate, which is much better than what we're seeing in South Africa, in Brazil, in the US, in UK, and many countries in Europe. And we should not really wait till we really start having a spike again and then start really rushing into vaccination like UK had to do. And they had to change their vaccination schedule and even said you can mix the vaccination because they're in a panic situation. We should really be ahead of the virus and therefore start vaccinating early when we're in a better position, and vaccinate as many as we can so that we don't land up in a situation where we have a surge of cases again. And this is a cause of concern, because as we've seen in Brazil, where they felt the pandemic was over, they had good amount of immunity, they're suddenly seeing a huge surge in the number of cases.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about that, because we've seen that that's been the experience of countries globally, and whether that's also something India should worry about. But I want to first finish, as you know, people have concerns about Covaxin, right? Because it's undergoing phase 3 trials right now. So experts have raised concerns over the emergency approval given earlier this month by the drug regulator. Prime Minister Modi himself referred to this criticism over the emergency use clearance given to Bharat Biotech's Covaxin. So, doctor, as a doctor, the head, the director of AIIMS, why should Indians not be concerned about the fact that Covaxin's phase 1 results have only been published in the Lancet this week?
So we have phase 1 results which are now in public domain, but all these results, and I'm sure even the phase 2 results, have been shared by the with the expert committee and by the drug.
Not published in any peer-reviewed journal. Phase 3 still ongoing.
Yes. So phase 1 and phase. So before it goes into a peer-reviewed journal, the data is still there. The phase 2 data is also in preprint, as I understand. But that data is already there, and that data is available for the expert committee to look at. And they also have the data, whatever little it may be, from the phase 3 study as far as safety is concerned. There's also animal data which is available there, from hamsters, from monkeys. So I think, and the fact that this vaccine is based on a very old and traditional platform. The influenza vaccine that all of us take every year, I've taken it for so many years, every year, is on the same platform which the Covaxin is on. So there is a lot of confidence that this is a standard platform from which the vaccine has been made. The data from the trials is very robust. So safety, I don't think, is an issue. Okay. The concern that some people have had is what about the efficacy? Now the efficacy is based on the initial trials was pretty good, but you're right, we would like to have good phase 3 data to be able to show that the efficacy is good. But this is something which has been done in the past also, and that is why it's an emergency use authorization with a lot of riders in place. Therefore, the vaccine should be rolled out because we need to have a large number of doses. And as I explained earlier, the more people we vaccinate, the better position we are in the coming weeks as far as the variant strains are concerned, as the resurgence of cases are concerned, which is happening in many countries across the world.
So it's very important that we have this momentum. As we've been reporting, my colleague Sukriti just reported that the numbers are picking up. We're 1 week into this vaccination program and now the numbers are picking up. But could it be the hesitancy, could that also be because at the same time, this is the catch-22, we're having a declining trend in new cases as well. So people are seeing that numbers are falling. The public knows that, look, there's going to be an array of vaccines that will be available in the months ahead. Does this not all add to this initial hesitancy? And what would you say to anyone who's thinking along these lines, that let me not go now?
So I would just say that this is an unnecessary and really uncalled for risk. I do agree that this year, I personally feel this is a year of vaccinology. We will have a number of vaccines coming out, not only from India, but from across the world. And I do agree that the vaccine today may not be the best. And I've been saying this, that the better should not be the enemy of the best. So this is a good vaccine, but it should not be the enemy of the best because of the fact that we may have a better vaccine. We have a vaccine which may require only 1 shot rather than 2 shots. But we don't have time because this virus is a smart virus. It will evolve. It has evolved. Countries which had a sort of sat back and said things are now all right are paying the price. Let's not really take the virus for granted and say, look, everything is all right. Our cases are down. We can wait and we'll start think about the vaccine once we have a better vaccine, because we may not have that time. And those people who will subsequently lose their lives will really question us that why did not we give whatever was available? There was a time when people said, give us remdesivir, give us hydroxychloroquine, even if the data is not there. There was huge queues and big demand for remdesivir. At that point in time, there was hardly any data that this drug actually works. There was actually data which suggested it may not work and it may just decrease the duration of hospitalization. Yet it was used extensively. So we are in a situation where we are trying to stay ahead of the curve and beat the virus in a situation where it's a rapidly evolving field. So I'm not saying that tomorrow we won't have a better vaccine. But can we wait for tomorrow and pay the price of a large number of deaths today just by waiting for tomorrow?
Dr. Guleria, that's very well put and simply put so that the public, the Aam Aadmi, people like me and all of viewers can understand this. I want to, after a short break, go into what you've touched upon, the experience of Brazil, why we're seeing cases in the UK, etc., hit a peak, then suddenly drop, now suddenly start new variants. Let's get to all of those questions, but after a quick short break. Welcome back to our conversation with Dr. Randeep Guleria. Dr. Guleria, you've touched upon this. You've talked about the international experience, countries like Italy, UK, Brazil. They hit a peak, then they suddenly dropped, the number of cases dropped. Is there an explanation for the sharp fall? Then months later, cases suddenly increased again. Is there?
So this is an interesting phenomena, and Brazil, of course, there are different theories now, because when Brazil had this huge number of cases, there was a feeling and there was some modeling data which also suggested that they had possibly achieved the so-called herd immunity. And they said that the cases will no longer, there will be no longer a spike in the number of cases. That was proved wrong. And now the reason for that is being speculated is one, that there has been now a new variant which has emerged in that country, which is more infectious and therefore spreading more quickly and causing more number of cases. And the second, that it's possible that many individuals who had mild or were asymptomatic, who had mild or asymptomatic disease 7-8 months ago, that is during the first time in July, August, when they had the peak, their immunity has waned and they are now become more susceptible to a reinfection, and maybe that is why they're seeing a surge. I don't think we have a definite reason for why the surge has happened in Brazil, but these are the two theories which are there. There is definitely a variant strain circulating there which is more infectious, and therefore that is a cause of concern, because now we have a variant strain circulating in Brazil, in Africa, and in the UK.
That's right. In the UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson had said that this new variant may be more deadly. The number of people who have tested positive for the UK variant of COVID-19 in India has climbed to 150. That's what the Union Health Ministry has said today. Is that a concern for us?
It is a cause of concern because we know that this strain is highly infectious. And I would say that if we take that one step forward, it means that if this strain is highly infectious, it can also infect people with comorbidities, our elderly. And we know that even with the older strain, if the individuals who had comorbidities or who are elderly, if they got the infection, they had more severe disease, and therefore it would indirectly lead to more hospitalization and a higher mortality. Therefore, it's a cause of concern, because if a strain is more infectious, it will also infect the high risk group and those with comorbidities, who, because of the underlying comorbidities and their age, will therefore have more severe disease and therefore land up in hospital. And that is why I keep stressing on the fact that we should try and everyone should come forward and aggressively get themselves vaccinated, because that will help in containing even this variant strain in terms of its rapid spread in our country. We should not take a chance that that this could happen in the coming weeks.
So it only works if we all work together or take it together. So Dr. Guleria, is there an explanation though for why COVID cases in India have fallen so much now and so suddenly? We went from 100,000 cases a day, now 15,000 a day. In fact, in Delhi, we're reporting about 200 cases, schools reopening.
Yes, I think it's a very remarkable thing. A lot of effort has gone in, but still it's something which one had not expected that would happen so quickly. I think it's something that one needs to really study and see. Is it related to the fact that we have some degree of inherent immunity that we've developed? The previous zero surveillance was not very encouraging. It did not show a significant degree of herd immunity. So I don't expect a very large degree of herd immunity in the population to have happened so quickly. It's also likely that we may have some degree of cross immunity because of our exposure. And we are a younger population, so maybe we are getting lesser illnesses. But I think this is something that we need to evaluate. Our cases have really come down, except for 2 or 3 states where there's still a large number of cases. Kerala is still seeing a large number of cases. But at a national level, we have done very well. And that is why we need to sustain this, because we should not really lose this advantage.
And given all those reasons you just cited, younger population, etc., is there a chance then that India, like Italy, UK, Brazil, etc., who saw those daily cases fall, that India could also see that sudden rise again, or no?
So that is the main cause of concern, that we may have such a situation developing, because the virus is something that we cannot predict. One had made a lot of predictions in the past, from the pandemic going away many months ago to the fact that we may have a huge number of cases. So it's very difficult to have a prediction, but we must be prepared for the worst. And what I'm worried about is that we may have a resurgence of cases again because of some degree of complacency, and also because of the fact that there is this vaccine hesitancy. And that is why, like I said in the beginning, we have to really get people to understand the importance of getting themselves vaccinated now when the cases are less, rather than having a situation like UK is having, that people are now getting themselves and rushing to get themselves vaccinated because of a surge in the number of cases.
All right. And lastly, Doctor, because both these vaccines, after they were released, then they came out with the little disclaimer about after effects. Many people are concerned. That's the last question. I'm out of time, but I want to quickly ask you, because viewers have asked us about this. Should people with allergies be taking the vaccine?
So if you have a very severe allergy like anaphylaxis, then you should be careful about it. But if you have, say, allergic rhinitis, asthma, or some allergy like a food allergy, you can still take the vaccine. It's only important that you observe yourself carefully, and the healthcare facility is aware that you have some history of allergy, so that they can take care of that. Otherwise, in my mind, it's not a contraindication, because We have a large number of individuals who've taken the vaccine who have underlying asthma or who have some allergic rhinitis, nasal allergy, and there's really no problem as far as taking the vaccine for them is concerned.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Guleria, for your time. And time passes so fast when we're talking to you. Thank you for joining us. And
Thank you very much.
That's it on the show. We'll see you again next week.